All right, hey, what's up, guys? This is Dan, also known as Coach Berg, from Ironberg Performance. So I'm just hanging out here. Just drove up, or I should say, drove down from the Central Coast, hanging out in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Tonight, really just hanging out here at our mate's gym, Body by Brando in Paddington. It's just myself and my gimbal, playing cameraman, as you can see. Just hanging out, keeping track of my every move. So today, guys, I just thought to shoot a quick little video just to help answer a few questions what's been asked to me over the past few days, weeks, and really I've been answering a lot of over the time. So the question of the day really is, or what we're going to talk about today is principles of strength, or the difference between principles and methods, and how do you actually get strong, what actually matters. So to start with, the outcome of today, we're going to really speak about three different principles, or the three main principles, I should say, on how do you actually get strong and get shredded and just fucking look good and just dominate things. So the three main principles is... So we're going to be talking about the three main principles on actually how to get strong and how do you get results, how to build strength, build muscle, that whole thing. But first, what we're going to do is just kind of define the difference between the principles and methods, which is like a big thing, what people want to know and what they should really think about. So the main first thing is the idea of difference between principles and methods. So there's methods of how do people get fit and how they train. So methods is just like a certain system, such as training at like a certain style, like say CrossFit or F45, kettlebell training, strongman training, powerlifting, bodybuilding. They're all different kind of methods. If you're doing say 5x5, a training plan like 5x5 or Wendler 531, they're a certain method for strength and powerlifting. So they're all methods. What you want to do, if you really want to have a long-lasting results and consistently always progress, you want to have principles. So principles, which we'll go into, is such as training primal movement patterns, progressive overload, and specific adaptation to imposed demands are the three main ones I'm going to be speaking about today. So the main thing what you want to be really mindful of when you're planning your training is understand methods and principles. If you learn the principles, you can use all methods. If you only believe in one method, you will get pigeonholed into using that method for every situation, which is a major trap a lot of people tend to get into. So how you want to think about this as such is when someone always does like say powerlifting, they literally will think every client who walks in the door should just do powerlifting. They should be like, yep, 5x5 squat, bench and dead, and that's it. Or if someone is like always on CrossFit and they get a new client in, no matter who it is, they just go, yep, 21, 15, 9 thrusters and pull-ups. That's how you get strong and shredded. Not so. They're all just different tools. And that's where you want to think. There's tools, and then if you just have methods, you're learning different tools. If you learn principles, you become the toolbox. If you learn multiple principles in multiple different fields, you become the whole hardware store. So that's what you want to get to. And then you can help a vast majority of people. You can really isolate and pinpoint different things for helping different people in their individual particular circumstance. So the thing is what you want to think about really in the sense, if you're just a tool, if you believe in one method, like say it's CrossFit or powerlifting or bodybuilding, Olympic weightlifting, you literally are basically a hammer, and you think of a hammer sees everything as a nail. So they think that. That's why you want it to be a toolbox. You see the problem and you go, sweet. Like this needs screwdriver, this needs hammer, this needs something else. Or jackhammer, like you'll be able to work with that scenario. So that's where we go into the three main principles, what we're going to talk about. First, it's going to be the most important one of in making any kind of progress is progressive overload. So progressive overload is so simple. All it is understanding what you've done today. Say, for example, if you want to bench 100 kilos and you currently can do 3 sets of 10 bench press at 60 kilos, progressive overload simply is increasing the work done in some manner, volume or intensity the next week. So week 1, you do 3 sets of 10 at 60 kilos. Week 2, what you want to do is try 3 sets of 10 at, say, 65 kilos. Then week 3, you might do 4 sets of 8 at 70 kilos. And you just so on and so forth, trying to progressively overload. You can drop reps, increase sets, or increase your total weight. But the thing is, you do want to increase, you want to increase your tonnage overall to help progressively overload. So step by step by step, and you have that snowball effect, and that's how you get stronger. Then the second principle, what you want to think about with training, human body only goes through certain planes of motion. You mostly push, pull, hinge, step, brace, carry, that kind of stuff. So really, I always think of training as horizontal push, horizontal pull, say push up and row, vertical push, vertical pull, so like an overhead press and a pull up. Then you'll go through lunging or stepping, you'll go through a squat pattern, so a lower body push, and you also go through a lower body hinge or pull pattern. And really everything else you do in training is just variations of that, or more complex version or combinations of that. Say a clean and press or clean and jerk is simply a lower body pull into an upper body push, if you really break it down. So that's how you want to approach training every week. You want to try hit through those basic movement patterns twice a week and progressively overload those. So quite simply, it's doing, like, say, bench press and Pendlay row, overhead press, pull up, deadlift, back squat or front squat, and lunge. And then from there, brace and carry, that kind of stuff for trunk awareness. And you simply progressive overload that, and that's going to be the vast majority of your results. Everything else, forgive my French, is pretty much bullshit when you're adding too many combinations without any true intent with what you're doing. You're just really just wasting your time hamstering the wheels, just spinning your wheels about. Then number 3, what we want to think about is that specific adaptation to imposed demand. So it's really, when you quite simply think about it, know what you're training for. For example, if your goal is to run or sprint 100 meters as fast as you can, you want to practice sprinting really, really fast. There's no point. You can do all the running in the world, all the 10K runs in the world, and you won't get better at sprinting 100 meters if you don't practice sprinting 100 meters. So that's like that specific, work on that specific demand. Or another example for a pure easy training one, if you want to get stronger and increase your ability to do maximal effort strength, so bench to a 1 rep max or be able to bench to a 3 rep max or something like that, you want to be practicing reps at that lower rep range. If you're always doing 5 sets of 20 reps at like 50 kilos, you're never going to get really good at, and you only stay at that, you're never going to get really good at benching 100 kilos if you never go into those lower rep ranges and work on that intensity. So it's just understanding that intensity regarding volume, because you do want both. You want volume and you want intensity in different times, but it's just understanding what you're training for and going for what you're training for. So that's about it for today. If anyone has any questions, hit me up in the DMs, in the comments, or anything like that. You want to talk smack at me for talking to a camera, definitely. It felt fucking weird. I'm sorry, again, I swore, but it feels weird just speaking in front of a camera. But at least I have a mate hanging around with this gimbal. It's pretty cool. I'm my own cameraman. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any other questions at all, I love actually trying to do this more regularly to help give value out. So more specific questions, that kind of thing. Yeah, hit me up. So sweet. Peace, guys.